Hey, welcome to an episode of Star Walking After Dark. Sounds ominous, though, however, it may not be. Depends. We'll see how things play out. Basically, it's a chat between myself, Deb, and Warren, who's in Queensland and I'm in New South Wales. We're going to talk about all kinds of things Star Wars, particularly because we're very excited about the Book of Fett coming up in only a week and I think it's a week and a half's time. So it's very exciting. So today we're going to have a bit of a chat with whoever joins us online, and we've got a whole lot of different things to talk about. So I'm going to throw some questions out to you, and I'm also going to throw some questions out to Warren. And we're just going to have a bit of a chin wag around Star Wars stuff. So let's start with what I like to do and welcome. If you're here, say hello. Send us a little message in the comments. Let us know that you've joined us so we can interact. Welcome, Gavin. Thank you for being the first person to comment. And hi, David. What we're going to start with is some questions around Star Wars things, which is my favorite. So it's going to be a Star Wars question about Star Wars things, and this goes out to everyone. So while we're waiting for other people to join us, we're going to start with, what was the last Star Wars thing that you watched? Warren.
Deb, how are you?
I'm good. What was the last Star Wars thing that you watched?
I the other night actually watched the episode of The Mandalorian where they go to the little village and they help to arm the villagers, and they fend off the ATST, and the child gets tracked by a bounty hunter. So that's the last thing I watched, that episode of Mandalorian.
All right. We've got some answers coming
How
through.
about you?
Well, I will tell you mine in a second. I'll let you know. We've
Okay.
got that Matt says he watched The Force Awakens 2 days ago, and James watched The Rise of Skywalker. For me,
Wow.
it actually was a combination of a whole lot of different things, because later today, what we're going to be talking about is the Wilhelm screen. And I went through a whole lot of different Star Wars movies to find the screen and watch that. So I've watched a little bit of everything in all of the 9 movies. Gavin says he's watched so many things on YouTube he couldn't say for sure what was the last one that he watched. I once had that time. David watched Star Wars Resistance Season 2, Episode 2. How do you get into Resistance? Did you get into it, Warren?
No, I kind of lost interest in Rebels, and then when Resistance came out, just I didn't even give Resistance a chance, to be honest.
Sacrilege! You didn't like Rebels?
I
Ah,
know,
can't
I
speak
know.
to you.
I kind of dropped the ball with Rebels towards the end there.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for joining us. So, our next question that I have is, what Star Wars Christmas thing do you own? Well, I've got R2, of course. What do you guys got? What do you have that's Christmassy?
I have a whole heap of the Star Wars Hallmark Christmas decorations, and they adorn my Christmas tree. It's just over there. You can't really see it, but yeah, each year the new ones that come out now, it's even easier to grab them because Coles are stocking them. So if you go into Coles or Woolies or even Aldi, you can get some Star Wars proper Hallmark Christmas ornaments.
I saw in Aldi they had C3PO with Bubble Frick
Yes, Puffer
as an
Freak.
ornament
Yep.
in Aldi. I saw that, and it was a reasonable
Mm-hmm.
price.
Mm.
Hallmark decorations aren't particularly cheap, but they have been in the last year or two, particularly at Coles and shops like that.
They have, but the quality is amazing, and the detail of the sculpt in the Hallmark. I don't know how they actually get such a great detail for such a small item. So yeah, you're probably paying for the craftsmanship.
Fair enough. Welcome, Michael. And James says an ornament showing Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader in a lightsaber duel, and it lights up. James, is that the flat one? Because last year there was the flat one, and it wasn't as good. I believe this year there's a better one with Darth Vader and Luke fighting, where I think it's got more depth to it. It's not just an image,
Right.
which I have. Oh, yes, it is the flat one, or yes, it's got more detail. Need more information in your comment. So the next thing that I thought we could talk about is, okay. I wanted your opinion because the flat one. Okay, I have some of those too, James. Uh, when it comes to Star Wars and Christmas, I do like crossovers. Crossovers are always fun, and I have my Star Wars Christmas shirt on. Um, but sometimes Christmas things can become a bit cringy. So I wanted to get your views, Warren, on some of these
Yes.
images or these Star Wars related Christmas items. It's hard for everyone else to comment,
Well,
but if you see something that really annoys you or you really like, please pop it in the comments.
well, we can't really have this segment without talking about the biggest and the cringiest Star Wars crossover of all time, which is the holiday special. Have you seen it lately, Deb?
No, and I don't plan to.
It's so bad. And what makes it worse is some people have gone to the trouble of remastering it. So if you own a 4K TV or an 8K TV even, you get to see all the cringy details in crystal clear, like way better than George Lucas would ever hope that you would be able to. The mascara on Mark Hamill's eyes are particularly vibrant in 4K.
Right. I understand doing 4K of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Not so keen on the holiday special, but each to their own.
Mm.
Gavin says he's watched it over a dozen times. That's commitment. Gavin would be really good at Christmas holiday special trivia. Interesting.
I wonder whether Gavin watches it all year round or whether he does only watch it at Christmas time.
Good question. So, what I wanted to talk about was so we've got funny, warm and fuzzy, or cringy. So these are the choices. So we have this one, of course. Funny, warm and fuzzy, or cringy? Lauren?
I think anything that features Grogu in a Santa hat would have to be warm and fuzzy. Wouldn't
Yeah,
you agree?
I 100%
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I knew this one was going to be an easy one. What about this one? This one's been around for a little while.
Oh, yes, it's on
Oh,
the cover of the CD of the Star Wars
Christmas
Christmas
music.
carols,
Yes.
Christmas music from Star Wars. Yes. I don't know what's cringier, the cover or some of the things that Anthony Daniels says on the CD itself.
We had a comment from Elizabeth to this one. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's more like it's cold.
Oh, yes, of course.
This one's warmer,
It is warmer, definitely.
but the CD itself is cringy. All right. What about
Mm.
something a bit funny? Sorry, the cookies are a little on the dark side. Like it, not like it.
Yes. Doesn't do it for me. How about you, Deb?
I have to say, not particularly, but that was actually a card that was sent to me, so I have to like it because I like the person who
Right.
gave it to me. Next,
Okay.
moving on.
Oh,
What
that's
about
terrible. Santa Vader.
what about this one?
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a
It's
better.
cringy, but cool.
Yep. Now this is a
Wow,
meme.
that's
Go.
yep. I like that.
Yeah, it is. It's simplistic. It's Christmassy, but not over the top. Yep. And it's
Hmm.
Lego.
Wow.
I think it's
Anything with
cute.
Jawas,
It
it's
always
good. Yep.
works. It always works. It's funny. It's like Grogu stuff. And then, of course, like you said,
Here we
holiday
go.
special.
So you know the idea behind Chewbacca's big red robes, don't you?
No,
Do you
I
know
don't.
the behind the scenes reason for the red robes?
No, I do not. Please do share.
So, in order to show the other Wookiees, rather than make a whole heap of Wookiee costumes, which would have cost an arm and a leg, and weren't just things that were laying around at Lucasfilm, that was a very, very simple and cheap way to dress the Wookiees at the Life Day ceremony.
It's actually quite clever.
Mm.
It's a clever way of doing that. Although it's not Not that impressive looking though. Having a Wookiee in a
No,
Jedi robe.
no.
But it works.
Chewie in here.
Saves
It
money.
looks like Chewie's ready for a haircut.
Sit down, wave, blow away. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what I wanted, so enough of the Christmas stuff. We'll come back to that because I'd much rather we get to starting talking about some Bounty Hunters and Boba Fett stuff. Just to touch news around our club stuff. So in 2022, what you can look forward to are face-to-face social meetings in Skyforce. So now that I guess some of the restrictions have lifted, etc., you can look forward to. Queensland's already been having meetings in 2021, but I know that New South Wales will start in February, and Queensland will be back in at least May, that I'm aware of. I'm not sure what
That's
Melbourne
right.
states will be, but that's something to look forward to. We will also be putting out a monthly digital newsletter. We will be updating the team app. We will continue with the monthly live streams, and we will be running Force 5 later in 2022. Just a reminder that membership's $10. It gets you a discount entry to club events, participating stores. It gets you access to the newsletter, the team app, and membership-only prizes. So anyway, 2022, looking to do a whole lot of stuff for the Star Wars Club. So watch this space. We will be bringing you news for every live stream. So we're going to continue those over the months, and you'll be able to be updated. But if you're a member, you get sent those via email, and you also get the access on Team App, which gives you the updates as well. All right, moving on. Club-wise, this is something else that was sent to me today by Dale. This was a tweet. So the other thing that the Star Walking Club does do is we have a Twitter account, and we also have a YouTube account. On our Twitter account, Dale posted this, and I don't know if you can see this clearly in the images, but there's writing above the picture, and the writing said, can you read it, Warren?
I can read it. It says Return of the Jedi, and I thought there might have been a typo in that, but no, it's in the year of release. And Dale's got it completely wrong.
He's written 1883, and as a consequence, though, 300 people commented and shared, and there was a lot of activity on that tweet, which is very funny. I'm thinking that we send out more inaccurate pieces of information just to get people talking. However, pretty funny. But we do have a Twitter account if you're interested, and that's those.
And I think it reached. Did it reach over 3,000 people? That one
Yes.
tweet.
Yes.
All based on the little typo.
Which is pretty funny. Michael says he got.
I think he did it on purpose.
Maybe. Michael says that he got the 2021 Hallmark Millennium Falcon. Is that one that you have?
No, I don't have that one. The 2021. Oh, that was one of the more expensive Target ones, I think.
Oh.
But yes, very nice.
So Michael got a Flash one.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Definitely.
Okay then. We're up to the part where we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff in Dexter's Diner. So the things that we're going to talk about today are the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not going to go into a lot of details because we don't know a lot of details. So this is meant to go on my Star Wars news, so I must have put it in the wrong spot. Because I'm just going to give you an update on what we know, which is not a lot. Information is that Robert Rodriguez says that Boba Fett's true colors will come up and we'll see more of his character. That's pretty much all we're getting. We also know that the reason why we've had such little information in the trailers is because they don't want to spoil anything for us. That's basically what the information is that we have out there, which I think is great. We've only got a week and a half to go, and I personally don't want to know anything more until it happens. I don't know about you, Warren.
Have you heard some rumors, though, Deb, that are unsubstantiated, though, about Han Solo, like all these characters that could turn up or that should turn up? If Luke Skywalker turned up in The Mandalorian, people are saying, why can't Han Solo turn up in Book of Boba Fett?
Well, that's what I have next. So there is a rumor about Harrison Ford has signed up again to Star Wars. However, it's not confirmed what he's actually going to be doing. And so the talk is whether or not it's going to be part of if they're going to de-age him, is it going to be part of the Boba Fett part, or is it going to be part of Mandalorian, or is it going to be something completely different? There's also a comic coming out in the very near future as well, which is a Han and Chewie one, which gives more of their backstory around the Solo movie era time. So I'm hoping that within that you'll be able to see some more of information about the swoop bikes and racing that he used to do and things like that. But as for the actor, Harrison Ford, it's believed that he's signed up to do something. We just don't know what it is.
Interesting.
Time will tell. Hopefully we'll know in a week and a half.
Well, I hope we don't know in the first episode. I hope that's something that they hold off for a little bit.
Well,
who else do you think may turn up, Deb?
I see. I have my hopes of people who I would like to see, and it's always going to be. And this is something we've talked about before, and this is again for everyone who's joined us today. I'd really like to know who you would like to see in the Book of Boba Fett. What we've talked about, clearly I would want my favorite character. For those of you who've been to the live stream before, my favorite character is Dengar. So I'd really like to see Dengar pop up. I really, really, and I feel like I want to write to the extent I should be writing to Disney and going, can you please? Because that would be what that would make this little black duck really happy. But I think I also think it would be great to see people who we've only previously seen in comics, like Jackson. There is I think it would be good to see more bounty hunters. That's what I would like to see. Whoever they are, we've seen the Mandalorian getting around doing his stuff. Surely, and we know from the first episode of the Mandalorian that there are a heck of a lot of bounty hunters out there because they're all meeting in the cantinas at the beginning of the season. And we know that when there was a whole lot of people were hunting Grogu, I would like to see more familiar characters that we already know. So during the Mandalorian, we got to see Fennec Shand, who we already knew. So it'd be great if we could see more people that we already are aware of. New characters are great, but it'd be nice to see some that we know.
Do you think that Mando himself will make a cameo or an extended cameo in the show?
I presume so. It would make sense given that Boba Fett's been in the Mandalorian, and although, no, I don't. Unless, if he is, he would be doing something else that isn't necessarily related because they don't meet until the Mandalorian. And if that's the case, then they wouldn't know each other during the time of Boba Fett, the Book of Fett, would they? Is it before or after?
I think there are some flashbacks, but if you look at the costume, if you compare the costume in all the trailers that we've seen so far, he's now wearing a black jumpsuit with the armor that he had just recently painted. He's now taken a lot of dents out of the armor, so the armor's been updated and improved. But if you think about the timeline, when he grabs the armor from the Mando, he's wearing his Tusken Raider robes underneath. So because we've advanced in time, there is a possibility that the Mando could come back into, because it's going forward in time with the storyline.
James is saying that he would like to see Bossk. And Gavin says, are there any bounty hunters who also travel to other worlds, not as a bounty hunter, just a regular person to stay inconspicuous? I suppose.
Interesting.
I suppose you could, but my understanding was you'd want to be hunting a bounty, otherwise you're not going to have an income, and then you're not going to be able to afford the fuel that will get you from one place to the other, or to eat, or to sleep for the night. I'm assuming not too much, not unless there was having a holiday. I have another question for everyone. So speaking of bounty hunters, if you were seeking a bounty, who would you team up with? I've given some examples. Of those, would you choose any of them, Warren?
That's a difficult question. Yes, I'll probably someone like IG-88. I think he'd be good to get you out of any sort of a hairy situation. they've proved with IG-11 that he can pretty much get in and get the job done. So IG-88.
Okay.
What about you? You would take Jax, wouldn't you? Or Dengar? How about a double? Jax and Dengar.
Can I be a junior Boba Fett and team up with everyone and have them all underneath me and send them all off to do work for me? That's what I'd like to do. Elizabeth says if you could reprogram IG-88, and James says the Mandalorian, no question about it. That's who he. I'm inclined to think the Mandalorian, in regards to the way that he goes about seeking bounties. Although, in saying that, he does a lot of side trips and finds himself in lots of different situations that have got nothing to do with hunting the bounty. I think I might find that frustrating if, we're on our way to go do something and then all of a sudden we're off doing another side trip, like
being
a frog lady or something. Yeah,
being an Uber for a frog lady.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be the most helpful partner. I might question him. Good if he doesn't get distracted. So if we can keep him on track, yes, I would go with the Mandalorian. All right, what else have I got to ask you? What is your favorite version of Fennec Shand? So I've given some choices here because you can see that we met Fennec Shand in Clone Wars, in the Bad Batch, in The Mandalorian, in the first season, and then the later season. And then we've got the intro to the Book of Fett. Is there any version of Fennec Shand that made you go, yes, this chick's cool, I think she's awesome? David says Mando season 2.
I think the character's definitely evolved over time and really found her groove now. And from what I've seen of the trailer, she looks like she really will own, her place in the whole story, for sure. Very convincingly.
I find that I'm swayed by the newer version of her, the live action, and the reason is because I really much. What's the Marvel series?
What If?
No,
Which
no,
one?
it's. Oh gosh, doesn't matter. I can't even think of what it's called.
The WandaVision one, or
no, before that.
Marvel series?
Yes. Gosh.
Part of the MCU or just normal? You're gonna give us something here, Deb.
Oh my gosh, she's part of a team, and okay, Elizabeth says she's a badass female Jackie Chan, love her and everything. Yeah, that's true, and I suppose that's what my point is because I can't think of what the show's called. But I really like seeing her in other.
Oh,
things.
do you mean Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yes, Elizabeth is right.
Yeah, she's good in that.
I really like her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so when I see her as Fennec Shand, I picture her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the way that she fights and the way she holds herself. And the two characters are very similar. She's clearly good in that kind of role. And I quite enjoy, and I'm looking forward to seeing anything that they do with Fennec Shand because it's going to be amazing because as an actress, she's great, is my point of view, I suppose.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I get these mind blanks, which is why I'm really bad at trivia, which is why I lead trivia. I don't play trivia. Terrible at on a pinch, I go, that person, Yeah. Next one. Who would win? So guys, give me an answer. Who would win if we would set all 4 of these together? Who would be the champion? Oh, Kevin says my brain hurts. Who would be the champion? Leia, Ahsoka, Aurra Sing, or Fennec Shand? And Gavin says Snicks. Snicks would win. Who's the better fighter?
Yeah, I think Ahsoka, definitely.
So I'm
looking forward to seeing what they do with that character too. They haven't really leaked a lot of information about that yet, and who knows when we'll see a trailer for that. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do with Ahsoka.
I'm more inclined as you can see from my earlier comments, I think Fennec Shan. Although we've got a few people saying Ahsoka, that Ahsoka would kick everyone's ass, which is good. Now imagine everyone that's writing that is looking forward to that series too.
Yep.
She was trained by the best. Ooh, is that a debatable comment? Was she trained by the best? Ahsoka?
Oh, I don't know about that.
She had, in saying that, she did get to see a lot of the way different people fight and hold themselves, and then invented herself, which is which is what makes her so amazing. All right, next question. Who would have made better Rancor fodder? So if we think about the Book of Fett, okay, if you think about the Book of Fett, we're in Jabba's palace. And so in Jabba's palace, he sends people to the Rancor. So we know that Luke got sent down there. We know that Ula got sent down there and a Gamorrean guard got sent down there. However, who would you have rather seen get sent down there? Would you prefer Silicious Crumb with his cackle laugh? Would you prefer Bib Fortuna with his arrogance? Would you prefer Droopy McCool, who I don't know why anyone would prefer Droopy got sent down, but maybe you don't like his music. Maybe you didn't like the band in Jabba's palace. Or do you think Boba Fett should be sent down? I think people would think that I'm crazy by offering that, but that would have changed some of the stories if that had happened. Who would you prefer to go? Gavin says, anyone with a cheeseburger. So yes, we all know that Rancors like cheeseburgers. We've worked that out. And James would send Silicious Crumb. Who would you
To
send, Mike?
me, Droopy McCool has always looked like an oversized witchetty grub. Does he give you that witchetty grub sort of vibe?
I haven't thought about that before.
You know, if you unroll a witchetty grub, you get Droopy McCool. But I think the clear choice for me would be Bib Fortuna, but not Bib Fortuna as you see him there. I'd say after Boba offs Bib Fortuna off the throne, I think he should roll that into the Rancor pit, because the Rancor would have a feast on the new improved Bib Fortuna.
Well, see, that would be my reason for
Plenty
sending
of tuna.
Droopy. That would be why I'd send Droopy down, because he'd make a good meal, because that's what Elizabeth says. Silicious wouldn't make much of a meal. So,
No.
oh yes, but Droopy looks like a nice meal. Yeah, so send Droopy down. So if you don't have to get sent down, it's all good. Rancor's full of that and cheeseburgers. He doesn't need to eat you. Oh my gosh. He's a Sharpie dog on two legs.
Have you heard, Deb? Have you heard the Rancor
Sorry.
rumor about Book of Boba Fett?
That there's going to be a Rancor in it?
Yeah. Well, from the trailer, it seems obvious that there will be a Rancor, but and in this time period, the Rancor has been killed by Luke Skywalker. So the rumor is, and this is not a spoiler because it hasn't been confirmed or even spoken about to my knowledge, but the Rancor that was featured in the Bad Batch could be the Rancor that grows up to be the new Rancor in Jabba's palace.
I believe, yeah, I thought that was the case.
So it all ties in.
Yes. So we've got a whole lot of people commenting on Bib Fortuna to the Rancor.
Just roll him in some flour and some breadcrumbs.
Mash him, boil him, put him in a stew. I'm not eating that. Bib Fortuna bake.
Fortuna bake.
Hey, I wonder if that's in the Star Wars cookbooks. We should tell them they need a Bib Fortuna bake or a Bib Fortuna stew. And cheeseburgers. That's what they need to know.
Oh my goodness.
So Elizabeth says the poor Rancors, people just napping them up and keeping them as pets. And I suppose that's really similar to what we do. Well, we don't, but you find in America one of the things that's really common these days is those Tiger King shows, and uh, that people in America have lions and tigers and things as pets. So I suppose it's no different to people wanting to do that. And I know in Australia people keep reptiles, for example, without a license. It's similar to that kind of stuff. You want your exotic animal. I've got something different and I've tamed it. It screams all kinds of narcissism to me, but that's what Jabba was.
I'm wondering whether or not rancors are actually like, those Siamese fighting fish where you can't have two in the one cage without one trying to kill the other.
Well, if you go, I don't know if it's canon or not, but the Star Wars novels talk around that they actually are herd animals, and they do
Oh,
live,
okay.
together in like packs. And I just
Right.
think that it's kind of sad that there's one that's all by itself without, any of its family and friends around. I think that's right. If anyone knows more about rancors, let me know.
I think the rancor keeper gives it a lot of love.
He does. He does. And so they ride them on I think is it on Dathomir? I believe that's where the rancors get ridden by people. So they can be
Right.
tamed, but I don't think he would very much like being living in a cave because they like to roam the countryside. And I don't know what they eat normally.
And there's not a lot
Something
of
that's
room in
cooked
that
up.
cave. Like, it's not like you can do laps or anything like that.
No, no. A bit like the people back when we had the real bad COVID lockdowns and you had the Olympians and they were quarantined and they had to try and do the exercises in the hotel room. You're feeling a bit like that, just fed up and had enough. I would have eaten anything that came my way. Yeah, we've got comments. The Rancor King and Elizabeth says that the Rancor probably would have had a lot of cramps. You would have. It would just been, need to move.
Well, that's why he walks hunched over.
Yeah, there was also no water in that cave, which is not great. You'd be dehydrated as well, so you'd have to eat to get through it, I suppose. Okay, so Gavin says the fan film Creation of a Monster shows how the Rancor got to Jabba. However, it's fan film, so it's still, maybe it is that. Maybe it happened that way, maybe it didn't. But that's worth watching. Creation of a Monster. Thank you, Gavin. My next question. Speaking of Bib Fortuna, who we all want to throw down to the Rancor, what is your favourite version of Bib Fortuna? So we see him 3 times, and I could be wrong, there's probably more, but we've got in the prequels when they had the pod racing, then we see in Return of the Jedi, and then we see the dead one.
Oh, we've lost you, Deb, have we?
That was very funny, David. And then you've got the version where we see him in the Book of Fett at the beginning, where Boba Fett comes in and gets rid of Bib Fortuna, which I suppose what David is referring to. Jane says Return of the Jedi. I like Bib Fortuna in Return of the Jedi. Whilst everyone says he's a sleaze and he's creepy, etc., etc., and he probably is, but he's the major domo. That's his role, is to keep the palace running, and it would be really hard work being the person in charge of a crime syndicate and trying to make sure that you've got your boss's things. Like, he's like a personal assistant. That would be awful.
I totally agree. Return of the Jedi Bib Fortuna he was one of my favourite action figures when they came out. One of the first figures to really have that cloth cape. So I think he's a brilliant character. Matthew Wood, who played him in the prequels as a younger Bib, got to come back and also suit up as the Bib that got done in by Boba. So he got to play Bib Fortuna twice.
Cool. Which
You know who Matthew Wood is, don't you?
no.
The sound engineer from Lucasfilm who worked under Ben Burt.
Oh, right, okay. Thank you.
Also the voice of General Grievous.
Oh, I did not know that. There we go. We've got that.
And battle droids.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
Information I did not know.
You didn't need to know. But will be good for you in
And I won't
trivia.
remember. So we've got some comments that maybe we give him some slack because he had an abusive boss. Maybe. You know, he was doing his job. He had to keep the palace running correctly. Otherwise, he would be thrown to the rancor. You would do what you needed to do if you worked under Jabba. I tell you, you wouldn't want to do that.
Although Bib's a bit of a psycho.
You have to be to want that job. And he's been doing it for such a long time. Because when you think about it, he was doing it when Anakin was a child up through until, well, Return of the Jedi.
Taking over. Yeah.
We're looking at...
Although he did leave Jabba for dead.
As you would. That would be his only redeeming quality, wouldn't it? Poor Jabba. Yeah, James says he had to do as he's told. Exactly. Oh, and Gavin said it's called Birth of a Monster. So if anyone was interested in looking that up, that's what it is.
Sounds good.
I think we've given Bib such a hard time. Let's talk about someone else. So we've coming back to the palace again, referring back to what we already know about Jabba's palace, because we're going to go back there in Book of Fett. So let's explore what we already know and what we already like or dislike about Jabba's palace. So the next one that I was thinking about was the droids. So we always see lots of droids within anywhere within the Star Wars universe regularly, but in Jabba's palace there are at least 7 I've got there that existed, and I don't know if you recognize any of them or if you knew any of their names. And my question is, which one would be your favorite? Oh, Gavin says, for those who cannot or can't see the comments, how did Bib get so big? Did he feast on Jabba's remains?
Possibly.
Okay, so which droid do you like? We've got the one who
for me
them. That would be
for me definitely EV-99. Definitely.
And then there's a Gonk droid. If you recall, there's a Gonk droid walking around in there who also gets his feet burnt. And then there's a courier droid who is being tortured against the wall. And then we have 88. So 88 is the droid who helps 99. And then you've got the gatekeeper. So the gatekeeper is that, I can't even pretend to do it, at the front door. That's a droid. I don't know what it says.
Your impersonations are brilliant. On point.
Hey, you knew who I meant. And then
I did. It'd be more impressive if you did the...
I put my hand out, but yeah. And then there's CZ4. There's actually a few CZ4 droids within Jabba's palace, but they all take a background kind of position. One of them is seen thrown in a corner, as you can see in the top picture there. And the other one is the one that when C-3PO walks into Jabba's palace and he's like, oh my, he actually runs into another CZ4 droid, and that's what makes him react like that. So these are all the ones.
There's also one featured on the Jawa Sandcrawler too in A New Hope.
Yes, there is. Correct. The same droid, yes.
Well, I'd have to go with EV-99 only because of the cameo that he makes with voiced by Mark Hamill, of course, in The Mandalorian.
I like EV-99 to the extent that I brought a figure of EV-99, and then I went to a Collecticon meet and saw the character EV-99. I went, oh, I need to buy that. I really like that character so much. I'm going to buy it. Came home and went, oh, I already have that.
Oh, Deb.
I was so excited as well. Look, I finally got this. Oh, I already have it. Yes.
So not only do you forget trivia questions, but you forget which figures you already own.
Hey, look at my background. That's too much stuff. I can't recall. All right. Droids. We've done droids. Who would we like to see interact with Boba Fett in? And we've already mentioned this, but I've got some different. You already mentioned the Mandalorian and whether or not the Mandalorian, and someone already said that they would like Bosk to be in the Book of Fett. I'm throwing out some other ones. I'm curious. What about Kira or Crimson Dawn? Vice versa, they could be the same thing at the same time. Or Cad Bane. And is there anyone else we'd like to see in the Book of Fett? Warren, did you have any others that you could throw in?
Yeah, I'd love to see how they could write Kira into the story. Obviously, being a crime boss or looking after the syndicate, she could quite easily be included. But Cad Bane doesn't really do much for me. I know there are a lot of Cad Bane lovers out there, but Cad Bane's not really big on my list. I'd love to see, if we're talking about not just people but creatures, I'd love to see Fett riding a dewback at some point in the show. Maybe he gets left for dead in the middle of the Dune Sea and has got to ride a dewback home. But I'd love to see him interact with a dewback in some way.
Or a Crate Dragon?
Or a crate dragon. Yeah, well, we've done the crate dragon.
Yeah, no, but why can't he ride one?
Okay. Just like they did in June.
Or a flashback to the Sarlacc.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure that they're going to have to include that at some point. But yeah, more dewbacks.
I imagine we might see Banthas because we see Tusken Raiders in the clip.
Yes.
So there'll be Banthas. I'll still go to my favourite character is a Varactyl. So I would like to see Fett on a Varactyl. On a different planet, I'd like to see him get off Tatooine. Tatooine is too much sand. We all know how much we all feel about sand and how much Star Wars, particularly Anakin, he hates that stuff. So, I'd like to see him. I'm hoping that we're going to move planets around and it's not all just going to be based at Jabba's palace. But we'll find out.
Yeah, but where are Varactyls from? Geonosis, which is also just sand, isn't it?
Oh, it's more rock.
Rock, okay. Rock and sand.
Dirt.
What happens?
Sand. It's slightly different.
Yeah. You're getting me on technicalities.
It is, because sand's more the breaking down of other things.
Of rock.
And yes, and dirt is, I don't know what dirt's made of. Dirt's made of dirt.
Right, moving on.
Gavin says, why don't we see Fett on a flying creature? That would be cool.
Definitely.
Not a Mynock. What other flying creatures?
What creatures fly on Tatooine? Have there been any?
No, I don't think.
No.
None.
I'm sure someone will be able to.
Well, the Crate Dragon, kind of, sort of. But otherwise, no. Certainly not Womp Rats.
No.
Trying to think, can't think of anything. Oh, Elizabeth says Boba Fett can already fly. Michael would like to see Watto.
Oh, yes.
The
return of Watto again. He'd be very old now, though.
There are people who like Watto, which surprised me when I found that out. He's not ever been my favourite character.
Oh, Watto's great. He's a great character. There needs to be more Watto.
James says something similar. He says that Boba Fett already has a jetpack, so yep, he can fly. Problem solved. We don't need to see him flying on an animal. He just fly around. So
I'd love to see a whole series on Watto while we're talking about Watto.
I think Michael would
too. Like Pawn Stars, but Watto's behind the counter.
Oh, like people come in and sell things and
sell junk.
Right. So Michael says that Watto's his favourite. Okay, I have can't fly without a jetpack. Elizabeth says, what about attacking a flying animal? Oh, that's not nice. Hope not. So, next question, the biggest one. What is your favorite version of Fett? We have lots to choose from. Oh, they're not in order. That's terrible. There's we see Boba Fett as a child in episode 2. We see Boba Fett with a different helmet in Clone Wars. We see him in The Empire Strikes Back. Then we see him without his helmet in The Mandalorian and The Book of Fett. Well, the short, brief little thing of it. And then there are 2 different Mandalorian helmets and the Book of Fett helmet. So we've got different helmets. And I believe that I've missed one because the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett also has a different looking helmet again. What is your favorite?
My favorite, without a doubt, was always the helmet from Return of the Jedi. But after seeing the repaint, that's now my basically the Book of Boba Fett helmet is my favorite. What about you, Deb? You'd probably go for a bit of a bald bobber, wouldn't you?
No.
No?
Although, in saying that, he's more expressionable. So there's the mystery behind the helmet, but which was great. But then we can see more of who he is as a person in The Mandalorian and ideally in the Book of Fett. I have my helmet too. We can just put our helmets on. But now...
Can you still hear me, though?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. You're very muffled.
Yeah, I imagine. Oh, it's echoing in here. I don't know how this is great for everyone else. That would be my favorite. So you can then link up. I believe this is I think this is a Return of the Jedi one. Okay, sorry, got distracted. James likes The Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett. I have to agree, but then that's because I like the simplicity of him being on the Star Destroyer and doing what he needs to do, and just being Empire Strikes Back, and the seriousness of him taking Han Solo with such professionalism would be my favorite Boba Fett. And I'm looking forward to the new stuff that we get to hear. But yeah, Kevin said that we both look like Lego.
Shall we take that as a compliment?
Well, yeah, because Gavin likes Lego, so I'm going to take it as a compliment. Yep. that's the best I can do the way I look today. I'll take Lego. So, does anyone else have a favorite Boba Fett? Or was there a version that you don't like or what you're not looking forward to? Is there something that you've seen or heard that you don't want to see more of? So, for example, you might have seen how angry he may have been, and you might think, no, I don't want a Boba Fett like that. I want him to be different, like in my head. Sometimes when you think about a character, you decide what their personality is going to be like and how you want them to behave, but that's not necessarily the way that the director or the people writing the storyline, what they're going to offer us. So is there something around it that you don't want Boba Fett to be like?
I hope we don't see Boba Fett in the Bacta tank for too long wearing the nappies. I don't want to see that. No nappies on Boba Fett.
Yep, that's a good call. Yep. I don't want to see that either. That's my least favorite part of seeing Luke like that. It was just really unappealing.
And I think the way Bob has let himself go, it's kind of accentuated in the Bacta tank.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yes.
Yeah.
Evan says baby fat. Oh, hello. Can you hop down, please? Sorry. So David says the original.
Is that what I could hear? Was your dog sleeping next to you or something?
Yeah, she's noisy. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Hang on, so she's sitting next
I'm
to me
glad. I'm glad it's your dog. I thought you were getting a bit hungry.
now. Her tummy rumbling. What's that noise, Deb? And so David says the original was a scary version. Now he seems more human and tired. Well, we are talking about someone who's older and had a lot of things happening. And Elizabeth says, I don't want him to talk too much. I love his mystery. That's what I was kind of inferring, is we have this mysterious character. We don't want him, I certainly don't want them to do that thing where, well, we want to give you a backstory, so we're now going to make them do a great big solo spiel. Shush. We're going to make them do a great big solo spiel about what happened to them as part to fill in the gaps. Because I like the gaps for this. It works for him.
Yeah, don't fill in all the gaps. Please.
Okay, we're going to move on to something different. No more, unless there's something, unless you need to say anything else, Warren, about Jabba's Palace, Bounty Hunters, or Boba Fett.
No, I think I'm just looking forward to seeing it. Everyone's counting down to the new year. I'm just counting down to Book of Boba Fett.
Same. People are talking about what are you going to do on New Year's. I'm like, I don't care. I'm watching TV. Like, I'll be on Disney Plus.
Yes, hopefully there'll be a couple of episodes out by then.
Yeah. Oh, we do have the dates. I have those coming as well. I am going to find those dates for you to tell you about them. They are. Oh, I have to go up to there. Sorry. Back. Okay, here are the dates. So, the 29th of December is episode 1, and then we have to wait until January the 5th for the second one, and then the 12th.
No.
Yeah. So they're coming out weekly. So if you want to binge watch, you may as well start. What day of the week is the 29th? Oh, hang on. For us, it's probably Thursday, I think, because that date, the 29th, is usually the 29th in America. So it'll probably be, for us, the Thursday the following day.
In saying that, the Hawkeye series, which is dropping Wednesdays in the US, is also dropping on a Wednesday here. So we're getting it a day before then.
Maybe. Well, then I'm going to be, I'm going to go on Disney Plus on the Wednesday anyway, and hopefully it will be there. If not, I'll just wait until the following day. But
fingers crossed.
So if you're going to binge watch, you can binge watch on February the 9th and watch all 7 episodes that we know of. There you go. They're the dates.
Who's going to wait till then?
You have to. Oh, well, some people do. Do you guys do that? I know some people prefer to watch it all in one go and not have small segments. Now there you go. Elizabeth's going to binge. Put a hand up for that.
Oh, wow. So, Elizabeth, are you going to wait until that date to watch any of it?
February 9th, yeah.
Well, she's got more willpower than me.
Yes, same. I'll be watching it straight up.
I'll be interested to see if she caves and watches it early.
Yep. So we want an update. Oh, she did it. She says she did it with the Mando. So with the Mandalorian.
Really? I'm impressed.
I would find that really difficult because you have social media. People are talking about it everywhere and will be giving spoilers and talking, how exciting. Like Grogu, for example, you would
or Luke.
You would hear that. Yeah, you would hear about that. And it wouldn't be a surprise anymore. That would be my reason why I don't want to binge. I want to see it for myself. Gavin says he has to wait. He doesn't know what free time is. I'm not waiting. I booked holidays to watch this.
Did you really?
No. Not that devoted. Oh, Gavin's still behind with the Mandalorian. Okay, well, we didn't say anything about Luke. Nothing happens. So good.
No. Oh, Gavin, catch up.
Yeah, there's so much that you and does that mean, Gavin, that you haven't seen the promo for the Book of Fett? Because you may not have known why we're referring to Big Fat Big Fortuna. and cooking him up on the barbecue, because that's something you may have missed. Anyway, all right. More Star Wars news. I know about the Luke spoilers, don't worry about me. Oh, that's good. Felt bad then. I just want to do a shout out to Kenneth Coley, who is also Admiral Firmus Pier. Oh, Gavin's up with the trailers. Oh, that's good. So he has turned 84 this year. So happy birthday to him, and recently, so within the last couple of weeks. And what I found really interesting about him, and this is why I wanted to do a shout out to him just as an actor, is this is a quote I found. You can't just play a uniform or a single attitude. You have to somehow try to dig up within the parameters of the part something human, because that's what the audiences respond to, the humanity. The response I got was because of the humanity, not because of the uniform, if you see what I mean. So I just think that kind of attitude and that kind of acting is what made Star Wars and why we love it so much, is because of the humanity. And I just thought he deserves a shout out from us.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Deb. He was one of the first Imperial officers that I really took note of, and only because he was, you could see the mind spinning when he was working out whether or not, he should act or wait for Vader to tell him what to do, and yeah, very well played. Has he been in any other movies? Did you find out?
Kevin says, wasn't he in Dark Redemption?
No, that's a different. We got a different Imperial officer back. That was Peter Sumner, an Aussie actor.
No, I didn't do any. I should have, but I didn't. Look at what else he had done. Oh, Kevin says he knew how to brown nose Vader.
Yeah, he
No,
did.
well, yes,
Definitely.
as a character, yes, but as an actor, I'm impressed. What the other Star Wars news that we got going on is they have announced Celebration at Anaheim. So those dates are going to be at the end of May, the 26th to 29th. I know we're not going. However, it's something that is an important part, I guess, of the Star Wars world and Star Wars fans, is that when Celebration happens, because often then we get out new announcements and new products, and if you're over there, you get to listen to people that you adore, and and do that stuff. But for us, we get the news, so that's something I'm looking forward to. Oh, and it's during Gavin's Force Day, so happy birthday to Gavin when Celebration is on.
Happy birthday, Gavin. For the 26th, is it? May
One
the
of those,
26th, is that right?
I think so, something like that. Oh no, 28th. 28th. I
Okay,
think it's on his Force Day is the 28th of May.
right.
Yes. Yep, it is. Ha. The other thing, Star Wars news, if you're interested, there is a new thing on Disney Plus, which isn't necessarily Star Wars related, but in itself as a show. However, there is an episode that is dedicated to the Star Wars theme, and what it is, it's called Foodtastic, and people have to create things with food. And one of the one of the episodes, they have to create Star Wars ships and things or scenes, and they do a whole lot of work, as you can see from there, that they've sculpted some sort of ship. But I think I found a better picture of them. Yeah, them putting together this one. So all of
Oh,
that
wow.
is edible.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know whether
That's
it's like
amazing.
vegetables or cake, but it's all apparently edible. But yeah, so these people have some really good skills with food and sculpting things. So that's something if
So,
you're
what's the
interested
show called?
in foodtastic. But it's
Foodtastic. And
yeah, and so
what's
it's
it
on
on Disney Plus?
yes, it is.
Well, okay. I'll check that out.
Uh, I've already gave you the dates for that, and I figure we'll go into Maz's basement and have a look at some product that is out at the moment. So we have sunnies. Did you know that there are Boba Fett sunnies? And if you have a look, you can see it's got
No.
the T piece in the middle of the lenses.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Very
better
cool.
image. So there you go. So it's got the brown piece in
Yep.
the middle, and it's got the green and white around the edges. This is the Boba Fett 2.0
Yep.
because there is an earlier version of Boba Fett sunglasses by this company. And I just thought they were interesting, and I found another two that looked pretty cool, and they were the Ahsokas and the Grogus. How cute are they?
Wow.
So they're sunnies that you
Very
can
cool.
purchase. Yeah, they're on sale at the moment apparently, but they're also American. Keep in mind you have then the crossover amounts and the postage. I also found this has just come out is the new Funko Pop figure, and it's from Visions. This is the Ronin and his droid. So for those, this is the first episode. I think it was called the Traveler or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. But if you watch them in order, it's the first Vision episode.
Yep.
And so the Rona, there's also a book, and I talked about this before that there was a book coming out, and I bought the book, and I have to say that it is quite easy to read and very interesting. And what it does is it gives you an idea of. It starts off essentially what you see in the anime on Visions, and then it leads off into further information which explains how that came about and who Ronan is and what he is doing. I haven't finished yet, so I don't know the full story, but it's quite interesting,
Right.
and it goes into some stuff around the Sith and the Jedi and things that were going on in Star Wars at the time and how people were dealing with that. So it's quite an interesting book. I'm not here to just say, hey, buy this stuff, but I'm just saying this is what I enjoyed so far. All right, what else have I got? You can buy cufflinks. So the comment that was said to me the other day was, I don't know anyone that wears them, but if you're looking for Christmas presents, last minute ones, cufflinks are selling these. They're also selling Mandalorian socks, and they come as a pack. But look at the price. So you're not going to be buying that for $170 for a pair of socks and some cufflinks. So we'll move on to the next thing.
No.
These are cool. You can get these. These are JB Hi-Fi. These are Christmas ornaments. So you're getting the Hallmark ones. I recommend getting
Yes.
some of these. So it's a set, and you get your TIE fighters and your X-wings, and so you can see it there in the tree. And they're $30, which is reasonable.
Are they metal?
I doubt it. They
Okay.
look plastic painted. I like to think they're metal, but I don't think they are. I haven't got any, but if I get some, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Oh, we got some comments. Rather silver, if money was more available. Okay, so Christmas-wise, we've also got, if you have money to waste, you can get yourself a Star Wars Christmas tree, which is from the Bradford Exchange. It's only 30 centimeters tall, though. It's quite small, in my opinion. But it plays music and it lights up. And it has a Death Star tree topper with a Millennium Falcon, so, it's cool. Would you buy it?
Definitely. No, not really. It's
Cool,
not
but
it's not
no.
something that. Yeah, no, I think they look great, but
No.
nothing that I would buy.
No, me either. Though it is pretty
No.
cool. I'm hoping someone will at some point so I can look at it, but that's
Yes. Yep.
so.
The ornaments look incredible.
Yes, this is something else that when we talk about Life Day, so some people celebrate Life Day as birthdays or as instead of Christmas, the concept of celebrating Life Day. And so there is a book that you can get, which is finally out now. We talked about this probably a year ago that it was going to be coming out, and there was some images from it. But there are 8 stories. So the Coruscant Solstice, An Old Hope, The Kindling, The Krulok, The Song of Winter's Heart, The Spirit of Life Day, Reflection Day, and The Tree of Life. And I think I have some more images. Yeah, so these are actually canon stories. So if you want to know more about, so this is what's interesting is they look very much like the holiday special Wookiee outfits and what was going on, and this is a story about what happens for their life day. there's a little blurb there you can, and it talks about Chewie's family, a little bit about them. And then I also think, oh no, I skipped that. So that was one. There's another book that's out as well, which is the Life Day Cookbook. So the Life Day Cookbook has 50 recipes. So, for example, you have what have you got? Bamper Surprise. I can't pronounce the next one. The Jelly Life Day Orbs, Mudhorn Eggnog cookies, etc. And if you go on StarWars.com, you can actually get some of the recipes without purchasing the book. You can actually get some of the recipes. So they have provided us with the Bantha Milk Hot Chocolate and what ingredients you need and how to make it, and also the Mudhorn Eggnog, which is the Christmas kind of related one. Oh, that's all I've got for it. Anyway, so that's what I found, Christmas related Star Wars, if you're looking for extra things to purchase. Then I found some stuff for Watto's Junk Shop. As you know, I like my crossovers and I do like my comedy. So this is Jeff Dunham, and he is a comedian. He's an American comedian who works with puppets, and he has, I think, about 8 different puppets that he works. He's a ventriloquist. And so these are some of them. And what I recently discovered is that he has done a whole lot of Star Wars related, I guess, YouTube videos with some of his puppets. And so I've just found some images of that. So you've got Juan, which is the jalapeno on a stick, which is the dude in the middle. So he is Jose Jalapeno. And so he's Juan Cholo. And so it's just got a long time ago in a galaxy, Jeff far away, and that's just one of the jokes that I have. So if you know Jeff Dunham, you'll understand the jokes. But either way, there's some images here. Come to the dark side or I'll kill you, which is one of his characters. Use the Force Dumbass, which is the old grumpy dude. And you've got Bubba J as Redneck Jedi. Worth having a look at just for the fun of it, Star Wars related, even if you don't know Jeff's work. The other thing that got sent out to me was that someone has created some images of Fabuland cross Star Wars. I don't know if you remember Fabuland as a child, Warren. Did you ever play with Fabuland Lego?
I do. It was kind of like between Duplo and normal Lego, wasn't it? With the little bunny rabbit and the
It had different animals, so it was very similar to
Yes.
Duplo, but with the animals. Yes. So someone has created an AT-AT out of Fabuland pieces, and it's almost like the new UCS version of the Lego AT-AT, where you can see the insides and it's playable. But as you can see, it's got like goats and birds and monkeys and whatever else going on in there. And it's even got the sheep of like Luke Skywalker hanging at the bottom. It's very creative and
It's
just a little bit
clever.
of fun. They also did another one, which was it's called a Fabuland Speeder. And, and the Tatooine Homestead.
Right.
I love the fact that the elephant is holding a watering can. And
Wow.
I think I have another image of. Oh yes, and so putting it all together, so they've got a Tatooine scene. So all you need to do now is whack a Boba Fett in there. So I don't know which one of them may or may not be that, but you've got the speeder going on, the homestead, and the water moisturizer evaporators. It's clever. And the twin suns. If you have a look, you've got the yellow and the red sun in the background there. I just noticed that.
Very clever.
It is. It is clever. I think I have. We were going to talk about the Wilhelm scream, but we are at time almost, I think. And so I have a couple more crossovers. I have Friends, Hugh, I suppose, and the Santalorian. So I thought I'd mostly leave you with the concept of, I really hope that the Santalorian comes to your house and gives you great presents this Christmas, because everyone deserves a gift of the Santalorian.
Brilliant. Santalorian.
Yes. So Merry Christmas to everyone. We won't be back until the new year, but we will be back on the 15th of January with another live stream to meet up to chat with everyone. And by then we will, well, those of us who don't binge and are hanging out to watch the Book of Fett on the 29th will be watching
We
that.
should
So
have 4
yeah,
episodes by then.
yes. So we'll have a lot to talk about. So we're going to catch up on what's going on there. But we'll also do a little bit that's not necessarily just Book of Fett for those of you who are binging and are waiting until the end, or don't have access to Disney Plus and watching it by whatever other means. So we'll be fair and we'll split the session between the two. But we are looking forward to catching up and having a chat about what's going on there. So Merry Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas to you, Warren, and thank you for joining. And we hope you have a great new year and that Santa Laurel brings you great gifts. Thank you for joining us today as well.
See you guys. Have a Merry Christmas. See you in the new year.
May Force be with you. Bye.
Bye.